Hi, Tatisha, how are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Good, thanks. It's lovely to be talking to you. We've had some background conversations, and we found that some of the questions that come up for us with our clients are somewhat similar. And I thought it would be lovely to share our perspectives with our audiences. So the question that came up today is: so many people feel they're not getting what they want in a relationship. What comes up for you around that topic?
So, when I think about that topic, it's not being equally yoked in a way. There are some people that have different communication styles, and so they don't know how to communicate, or they haven't figured out how to communicate clearly with their spouse. Or, it could be a parent or a manager at
Hmm.
a job.
Right. I love that. I love that you're highlighting number one, that it doesn't necessarily only have to be with an intimate partner.
Mhm.
It can be just in life in general. What I notice is that because women have become so empowered, there's still sometimes an inability to ask for what they really want. And what I've always encouraged people to do is really rather be, instead of personally empowered, is to be relationally empowered. Is this good for the relationship? So I encourage people to try and get clear on what it is they want, and then to verbalize that towards their partner, and ask their partner what they need, and then to ask their partner how can they help them get what they need. Um, And I find that is because I find that today people want long-term relationships that go off on into 80s, 90s, long walks on the beach and deep conversations. But we don't necessarily know how to ask in a clear way for what it is we want, listen, and then ask our partners what it is, in fact, that they want too. Well, what's your experience?
I also feel people get complacent. So if you're in a relationship for a long
Mhm.
time, you just get comfortable with not communicating. And so, instead of you getting your wants and your needs met, you just kind of settle because you've just been so used to being in that same kind of routine that you don't know how to change.
Right. I love that. I love that complacency that you speak of, because so many people feel, in my experience, passive about their relationships. This is what it is, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
And the work is moment to moment. In fact, someone told me of this great joke of two couples sitting outside a cafe in New York, and the one says to the other, I believe you're working on your relationship. Are you doing it yourselves, or is somebody else doing it for you? And i think I think that complacency sometimes makes us forget that, yes, we do have a part in creating the relationship that we actually want with our partners.
Exactly. And it's not being selfish to ask, can we have a date night? It's not being selfish to say, can you sit down with me and let's just have a open heart conversation about how we feel about this relationship. A lot of
Right.
people think I'm being selfish if I want to express my feelings. I'm being selfish if I ask my spouse to take a day off to spend time with me. That's why the divorce rate is so high because a lot of times if you get down to the nitty gritty and you ask the people, well, what happened? They say we grew apart.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
part of growing apart is not communicating.
Right, right. And I love that about, firstly, I love the fact that you highlighted that still today, for many women, particularly women,
Yeah.
there's a sense of I'm being selfish if I ask for what I want, rather than I'm not asking because I'm asking him or her to sacrifice to me. I don't sacrifice to my partner, I sacrifice to the relationship. So if I'm asking for time together, then we can only get clearer on what it is we want. And then we can begin to cherish what it is and sustain what we do have and what that healthy giving and getting creates. So I
Yes.
love that about taking that selfishness, that selfish piece out, because it's not about you and it's not about me. It's about a bigger vision here.
And you hit it right on the nail. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about this relationship, and can we sustain it?
Exactly. And what needs to happen for that? What do I need to show up as my best self in this relationship? And what do you need?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, you hit it right on the point, right on the nail.
And then to always ask your partner, I'm going to tell you what I need. How can I help you in essence? Give me what I want. So if I can give an example of a couple where the one partner says they'll be home at 7, let's say, but then they get caught up in work and they come home an hour late. So it can be, do I need to send you a text? Would it be helpful for you if I send you a text at 7 and you can just respond, I'm going to be an hour late, or because I see you get so caught up in your work that you forget, and then I start worrying that you're not home on time. Or I begin to think that you don't love me anymore. Or I go off into a whole lot of other scenarios. So how can I give you something that will help you give me what I need? It's not about just a magic wand that your partner can give you everything. You might need to help them as well. And that doesn't mean they love you less just because you need to help them, just like they might need to help you, right? Give them something back.
Yes, no, I love that scenario that you gave because it's so true. I think a lot of times, even in just any relationship, it's a lot of assumptions. Like you said, the 7 o'clock, okay, he's coming at 7, and you're sitting there, 8 o'clock roll around, 9 o'clock might even roll around, and instead of you texting or calling, you're right, you start to go in your mind, and you start to think all these crazy things. Oh, he's out cheating, or he doesn't want to spend time with me, or whatever the case may be, instead of just picking up the phone and saying, hey, what happened? What happened to 7? And that's part of clear communication, just communicating. Like you said, it could just be, hey, I got caught up and I was talking to a coworker and I forgot.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
little
So,
situations like that blow up into bigger ones because you don't communicate.
right. And I love that it's instead of letting your mind take you to all these places, just jump in. Hey, you said you'd be home at 7, just checking everything okay. And then you'll get the true answer of what's going on. So instead of you having to blow it up, and then it becomes, as you say, a big fight, which just creates another wedge
Hmm.
that creates separateness rather than closeness.
Yes, no, I definitely agree. I definitely think that, taking the time just to kind of figure out what is that language. And so over the weekend, you challenged me. And over the weekend, I actually got to listen to, I don't know if you read the book or listened to the audiobook, The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman.
Yes.
And it just ties into everything that we're talking about today.
Maybe you'd like to just repeat the name of the book again for whoever's listening who.
Okay, so The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman. And he has an audiobook and he has, different languages, and it's an amazing read. And it
Right.
actually helps you understand and kind of grasp why people do what they do, and
Right.
why certain people are connected to other ones,
Right. And why we communicate in the way we do.
and why we communicate in the way we
Right.
do.
And I think one of the other things we can take away about getting what we want is to remember that every complaint, behind every complaint, which can look like you never, you always, those sort of general terms, behind every complaint, there's actually a request. Instead of you never take the garbage out, when I ask, do you think it would be helpful for me if you took the garbage out by 7 in the evening or before we go to bed? And then I've found that most partners, if the request is reasonable, they're happy to do it. They just didn't know. Oh, I didn't know it was important to you that the garbage went out by 7. Sure, I can do that.
Exactly. Or requesting, like we got back to in the beginning of the conversation, can you come home at 7 so we can, we have some time together?
Right,
You know,
exactly. It's an
instead of just
invitation.
assuming. Yeah.
Exactly. I love that. Thank you, Tatisha, for being with me today
Yes,
again.
thank you, Bev, for
And
having
this was lovely. I loved hearing your perspective. Thank you.
me.